told somebody yesterday, in my case, that's literally and figuratively. I'm doing all good in the hood. Yes, under my personal hood and in the hood. I'm doing good within. I'm inside. Been going inside for a while. Of course, now during this time, you're going inside whether you want to or not. I like the way Coco and I came up with this phrase where it's like, you're going to love it whether you like it or not. So that's how this time has been in our world. And so we have accepted this. We work with it. We move forward with it. We make it do what it do, as they say. Yes. And so as we move forward in this thing called life, one more day, one more time, another time to get our minds together. Goodness gracious. I need to get myself together. I don't know about you. In fact, I told myself this morning, I was like, myself said, huh? It's like, yeah, you might need to start getting up at 5:30 instead of 6 o'clock, or maybe 5:45. I might do 5:45. You know how you plan everything and then you realize you need that, like, just that extra 15. Eating the oatmeal for the day. Today I have walnuts and no raisins. I forgot my raisins. Walnuts and cane sugar. Usually it's walnuts, pecans, raisins, sometimes even almonds. And every time my father sees me make oatmeal, he's like, ew, man, how could you eat with all of that stuff in it? You got this and that. Like, my father cannot understand my eating style to save his life. But the funny part is, for me, it's just normal. Like, you know, my father, he grew up during a different time where stuff like pad thai and, you know, Japanese pan noodles and all that kind of stuff was weird. So that's exactly what he called my eating style. He's like, man, you eat so weird. Good morning to you and you and you and you too. Hello, Denise. Denise says, see, what does Denise say? What does Denise say? Denise says, happy Friday, accountability fam. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you for hanging out. And as always, welcome. I also want to say hello to my Clubhouse family. I want to say hello and good morning to Carrie, Edify, and Eunice. Inside jokes, inside joke, inside joke. I wonder who started the first inside joke. Like, who was the first person to actually deem something as inside joke? You ever think about that? Think about certain things that come along in our world. You just pause and ask yourself, like, I wonder who was the first person to say that or do that. I want to meet that person. I wish I could have met that person. The first person to say inside joke, inside joke. Yes. So I want to say hello to my Facebook family, my YouTube family, my Clubhouse family, and we are here yet another morning. So as always, I like to get started by dropping a few thoughts. I'm excited. We're going to hang out with my cousin, Caesar Bell. If y'all weren't here yesterday, OMG. Let's just say Prince and the song Kiss is still in my mind. And yeah, y'all probably going to see a clip go up today because that's going to be up. Prince and Kiss, Caesar Bell, Aaron Hill. Yes, but we're going to hang out with my cousin, Caesar Bell. And then today for our BPS Spotlight. What is the BPS Spotlight? Well, I'm so glad you silently asked. BPS Spotlight is business, product, or service. We have business owners. We have people who have products and services in the midst of our tribe, in the midst of our community. And so today, looking forward to hanging out with Carrie Bowen. And we're just going to have a great time today, as always. Great conversations. We'll be talking about emotional intelligence, of course, in some shape, way, form, or fashion. Because you know that's what happens here. AP Morning Show. Welcome to the AP Morning Show. I always like to read something just to get us started. Something from my writings. And so the one that you're going to hear in a few seconds is going to come directly to you by way of IG. So in the next 15 seconds, if you head over to my IG bio, you're going to see a little message from me. And that message is going to read something like this. Oh, yeah, in 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you check there, you're going to see a message that says the idea of perfection. The idea of perfection. The idea of perfection is the enemy of good. Yes. Although many times it's spun completely the other way, I promise you. You get down to that construct, you break it down on the bottom line levels. You get down to the fact that the brain has the ability to create some shit that might not even exist, or to create a hypothetical that does exist and that is a reality, but it's only mathematical. And when you add math with imagination, what you get is some real powerful shit. You also get some things that help us in some ways and completely fuck us up in other ways. And so with that, the idea of perfection is the enemy of good. I wish it would. I wish it could. If you come from the hood, then you know. You get it. Yep. And so, I want to say what's up to my cousin Blood, Caesar Bell. My good people. What's up, cousin Blood? Good morning.
Man, didn't I blow your mind this time? Didn't I? That's all I can say this morning, man. Ooh, what a night, what a night.
What a night, huh?
Would it be like Peoples, Eunice, Edify, and Carrie?
Yes.
Building.
In the building.
Or should we say in a building?
Right. Of some sort, some kind, somewhere.
Right.
Isn't it funny that we say like in the building even if we outside?
Right. Isn't that crazy?
We
out
out
a
here.
lot of stuff that just don't make sense sometimes.
Right. We out here. Why is everybody out here? Like,
where? I want to know how big is this chair, though, bro. Like, how is everybody sitting in the same chair?
Right.
Like, yo, what's going on with you today, son?
Man, I'm sitting over here putting a spoonful of oatmeal with walnuts and cane sugar and turmeric tea in a cup right now. That's what's going on with me.
then you gonna put it in the freezer and freeze it like an ice cube just to save it. Why does black people feel like the only way to save stuff is to freeze it? Yo? They should try that method. Like, hey, women, y'all get you a good man. You don't want to use that man and you want him to stay the same way he is. Put his ass in a deep freezer and freeze his ass.
Right.
Until you need him again.
Hey, yo, that's a good ass commercial, yo.
Right.
It freezes his ass until you need him again.
Freeze his ass. Put him in the deep freezer until you need him again.
Hey, yo, that's a slogan right there. That's a jingle.
Right.
Oh, man.
Hey, you remember lard, yo?
You said who?
Remember lard?
I don't think so.
You don't remember lard, yo? Stuff that your parents and grandparents used to cook with.
Oh, lard. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I remember lard.
Big ass can of just grease. Nigga, just... What? Go down the store and get me some lard, boy. Get you some what? Some of that lard. And you get... See, that's back in the day when the corner stores knew all the hood shit. They already knew what you asking for. Nowadays, they don't know shit. You go in there, like, hey, Mr. Chin, want some of that lard, huh? Like, yeah, mama making chicken again tonight. Tell your mama I'll be through later. Like, why? Fuck you mean, nigga? What? You know something I don't know?
Yo, I'm mad that people
get that lard.
I'm mad that people say lard and it mean two different things. Like mean like yo, it'd be crazy stuff like that. It's like you got lard and lard. You ever hear somebody say, did you know like organ was two different words?
Organ. Oh yeah, organ.
Like it's just like, man, what y'all down there doing, man? Y'all down there making all that noise in the organ. And then he'd be like, hey, boy, you can play that organ.
Right. The same thing. Do me a favor. Spell organ for me.
Yo, organ to me is like AUGIN now. That organ. Or either AWGIN. I just know.
I used to think organ was another word for sex.
But then that is true. That is true.
Why is they always arguing? And then they always think somebody else arguing.
Right.
It must be nasty. It must be nasty.
No, it was funny. Because I think about words like that when we grew up. Yo, for the longest time, yo, I used to think that there was someone named Karen, but not the Karen that we talk about today. Because my mother would always say things like, you know, they was down there making all that noise and Karen's on. I'm like, yo, and Karen's on what? Like TV? Like, who is Karen? Yo, it took me years to know that my mother was saying, and carrying on.
Carrying, and it's crazy.
And Karen on. Karen on.
It's crazy. You had to decipher that, and your mother's a teacher.
Right. And Karen on.
Where's your grandma at, lady? Put you all on my ass.
Right. It has to be like, yo, and Karen.
Saying, every time I say the word ain't, you always telling me ain't in a word.
Right.
I bet you I can find it in the dictionary. Try me.
I bet you can find that shit down. Right.
Try me.
Right.
Shit, man. I don't. I had an old guy do my shit on me the other day, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, Mr. George, you remember me? I used to live down on 29th Street off of Greenway. You remember me? He said, come a little closer. I said, yo, Mr. George, I used to live right there at 601. He said, well, don't be throwing no numbers at me like that. I don't play that. I said, Mr. George, what are you talking about? Like, nah, man, don't be shooting off your mouth all them numbers and shit. I don't play that shit. Where you lived at? I said, well, I don't know no other way to explain it. You don't want me to say no numbers and shit. What color was the house, boy? What color was the house?
Right.
Right. Was it by the alley? Is it before the alley or after the alley? Because I don't know shit before the alley.
Yo said, I don't play that shit. Yo, when people say that, yo, that shit is true.
And I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right. Yo, why do people say, I'm going to tell you that right now after they say what they want to tell you? Like, what?
Or while they're telling you.
Right.
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 Oh, people famous for that shit. And I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right.
Well, you already telling me.
Right.
Boy, you something else. You just like your mama, boy. Just like her. Always talking all that shit. I don't play that shit. And I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yo, you know what's funny about this show? I often be thinking like, yo, like as much as we see this shit, yo, will we wind up being those old dudes too? Yo, is it just like a natural phase of life, yo? You just get to that like that phase, yo. Oh man,
we the ones getting mad at the young people.
Right.
Like, hey, Mr. Ern, how you doing, man? I was listening. I remember you had the little radio show, talk show, and everything on Clubhouse, man. I missed that, man. You'd be like, thank you, young fella. I appreciate that. They'd be like, already. And you just get mad, like, already what, nigga? Look. Don't be talking all that young ass shit.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you going to speak, finish your thought, nigga. Don't just be like already and you got me waiting like something else coming after that. Nah, already what?
Right.
I don't play that shit. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh man. Yeah, that's classic, man. I often think about that. I'm like, yo, am I gonna be like, did all generations figure this out for the next generation and then just become that afterwards? Like, yo, so I be trying to think about that, man. I be like, I look at my kids, and before I jump to like, no, like, nah, that's not. I be like, all right, let me dial it back, because I don't want to be that hater. I don't want to be seen as that hater parent. Like damn, like right. he don't make room for nothing.
Yeah, all the pressure, yo, it just be so much pressure put on kids and stuff, man. I was watching something came across the TV about LeBron James' son.
Yeah.
And I'm watching. Okay, I'm watching it and everything. Watching the young fella play doing this thing. And I was just like, this little dude might kill himself. Because I think I could beat his little ass. He is trash. He is no LeBron James. They're going to put so much pressure on this dude going to lose his mind. Well, you supposed to be just like your father. But I ain't him, though. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Remember what happened with Michael Jordan's sons? You ain't ever hear about that?
Nah.
Your oldest son said, you know what? That's it. I quit. I am off the team. You was in college and everything. You'll just quit. You'll say, I'm done. That's it. It's only one Michael Jordan. And I don't even like yo. He my father. Yo,
you know what's crazy about that though is like, you think about it, man. It's like it's gotta be hard to like be the son or the daughter of some of these famous people, because
oh my God.
Right.
Yes,
I mean, like, you immediately, without even trying, like, you immediately, for many people, get like an automatic, like, okay, here's what you're supposed to do with your life, or here's what's expected of you just because you're this person's son. And if you're anything less than this, it's like, well, what the fuck is wrong with you, or what happened to you? Like, I can only imagine how much pressure that might, you know what I mean? There must be for some peeps.
Too much pressure. I would lose.
Right.
Lord have mercy. So what you got going on today, cuz? What's up with you, man?
Hey, no, man, I think I might just kind of probably hop up out the bed or whatever, throw some clothes on, sit at my desk, turn on my phone or whatever, talk to a couple people over the phone like it's 1994 and we on three-way. Yo, do you remember the beeper line, yo?
Yo, it was called the chat line, yo.
Yo.
It was called the chat line, yo. Niggas used to make up names like, yeah, ladies. I remember me and my homeboy, every week we was Stony and Rock.
Oh, snap.
You know, I remember one time, yo, we met these two chicks on the chat line, and we went and met the girls. And so we get in the car, we drive down. Should have known it was going to be some nonsense, because where we had to meet them at was on North Avenue. So we finally meet them, right?
Oh my God, yo.
And listen,
it's like 2020.
Listen to me. And no,
he said we should have known something suspect. I'm sorry, y'all. I live off of North Avenue, so that's why this shit is hilarious. Oh my God.
Carrie, Eunice, everybody else, all the women listening, and please take offense to this, please. Yo,
we should have knew something was suspect.
When we finally got there and met the girls,
and
they introduced themselves according to who we was talking to on the phone. My man, my homeboy that was with me, the girl that he was talking to on the phone, literally looked, sounded, and was shaped just like a gorilla, son.
Oh my God.
Listen to me, brother. She was like a gorilla in a football jersey.
Oh my God. Oh man, you a fool. Yo, the image that just came to my mind, you a fool.
I should have known, when they was like, yeah, we on North Avenue.
Right.
Damn.
I had to right. We like, I holla.
Almost like it's really impossible to meet some good people on North Avenue.
Right.
Like, where you live at? North Avenue.
Right. Man. Yeah, hopefully we get that shit together one day. It's coming.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But look, man, like it always is, it's always a blessing and a pleasure.
Yes, yeah.
Chop it up with you on the AP Morning Show. And I got to go and go do some things as I flow, because I'm out the door. And I don't play that shit, yo.
No more.
And I'm going to tell you that right now, though. I'll let you later, cousin Blood. Hey,
no problem, bro. While you out there, man, pick up a few sunflower seeds off the street, man, and just throw them at somebody, man, for no reason.
Hey, man, and make sure you spread my business to all of your followers and listeners. Let them know what I'm doing out here.
Oh yeah, I will, bro. I mean, as soon as it's cleared by the CIA, and as soon as the government, like they say, you left the door wide open for that.
To everyone's that's listening.
Yes, sir.
If you like sunflower seeds just to get you through your day, don't you lick the salt off the seeds. Let me lick the salt off the seeds for you. I don't want you to get high blood pressure. So let them kill me before they kill you. Call me. Don't put the seeds in your mouth. Put them in mine.
Oh my God, you crazy, bro.
I'm out of here, sure.
I hope. Peace. Oh man, good peace, family. My cousin Caesar. When I tell y'all we grew up having some amazing, funny times. You will hear about them from day to day here every single day, I promise you, because we have some childhood stories for your ass. And I just want to do a quick reset. I want to say thank you so much for your patience. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you, Carrie and Eunice, Dominique, and everybody that's hanging over here on FB. I see you. I'm looking right through the camera at you. So we're about to jump into our BPS spotlight. Thank you for your patience. We're going to talk to Carrie. Carrie is someone who I have a lot in common with, as I do everyone who I find on the journey, because it's how I move. You know how they say that when you start shaping and molding your reality, you basically start molding it where the people that's supposed to be around you are around you, because you start attracting other like-minded people, other people that are on that same journey day by day by day in their own way. So I enjoy doing that every day and checking in with people, talking to people, finding people that are around in these Clubhouse streets as well as around in life, talking about things like emotional intelligence and health and wellness, all the things that we do every day to be consciously selfish, because you got to be selfish before you be selfless. Got to take care of you. And I like it because there's another word to go with that Auntie G reminded me of when we first got this thing going back in December. And that was not only to be selfish, but to think about this word self-full. Self-full. What does it mean to be self-full? Well, as my mother would say back in the 80s, let's look it up. To be self-full is to be aware of who you are. It is to accept yourself, everything that it stands for, what it believes in, and every thought that you have. It is to recognize that we are one with ourselves and we fully embrace it. When you are clear about who you are and are honoring that person instead of who you think you should be, you are self-full. Self-full. Self-full means you have fulfilled yourself up first, so helping others feels fulfilling and energizing. Today, in fact, I'm going to be reading even more from this article here that I just found that is on valentinocoaching.com. And this article is about what it means to be self-full. But before that, without further ado, let's say good morning to Carrie, and let's chop it up and see and make it do what it do. Good morning, Carrie. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. I'm actually going to have to jump off. I have a patient scheduled, so I won't be able to stay on.
Yes, and I apologize. I'm so sorry for the delay. I really do.
That's all right.
Could I actually shoot you another date for another day really soon?
That would be awesome. Yeah, because I really want to talk about everything that you.
Yes.
Especially right now, for sure.
Here's another question for you. We'll be hanging here until 10:30. Do you possibly have another 10-minute slot between now and 10:30?
I don't.
Got
Unfortunately, I'm booked with patients.
Perfect. Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
No problem. And my apologies. Actually, you don't have to be sorry. It's me. Thank you. So, okay, cool. I will jump right on and I will throw another date at you. And yeah, we will jump into this.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I enjoyed listening to y'all, though.
Yes.
That was awesome.
And I appreciate you too. And thank you for your understanding. No problem at all.
All right. Yeah. Shoot me an email. We'll reschedule. So.
Sounds good. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, Carrie.
All right. You too.
Thank you for your understanding. Bye for now. Yes. Always good times. Always good times. And again, the thing I appreciate most, we get the opportunity every moment to practice emotional intelligence. Yep. And so I was glad that I could be emotionally intelligent in that moment because, yeah, People on schedules, yo. And it's something I remember and I remind myself every day. Something I remind each other of every day as well. We all on schedules. Gotta take that shit seriously. And so I do. So I appreciate Carrie for coming through. And I can't wait for you all to hear more about Carrie, because Carrie is absolutely amazing. A teacher, healthcare education, law enforcement leader, strategies to improve outcomes, employee retention, helping people with burnout. She's also a certified brain health coach. So definitely look forward to chopping it up with Carrie. Yes, she calls herself the Brain Diva. So let's talk about a bit more about what it means to be selfful. By all means, if you'd like to come up to the stage, you can. Just go ahead and throw a wave. And we're going to keep going with this topic about what it means to be selfful. Selfful, the new selfish. I love this. I love this. Because like I was mentioning earlier on, one of the past shows, Auntie G, Truth for Life, you all see her come through. We were talking about this concept, and Auntie G was like, actually, I know exactly what you're saying when you say you first got to be selfish in order to be selfless. You're basically saying you got to take care of you first so that you can take care of others. But there's actually another word for that, and it's selfful. And I was like, oh, wow, because I love learning new things. So I love how this author titled this article, Selfful, the new selfish. So this is going to be, let's see how long this read is. It looks like it's about a 4-minute read. Let me see where this goes. Okay, so this is a bit of a story. At first, a first-time client, let's call her Betty, was telling me about where she was right now in her life. She was exhausted, and I could see this in her eyes and hear it in her voice. Her lighthearted spirit was anything but light. There was a heaviness around her that didn't feel like her. I could sense this was a heaviness of her choices, circumstances. Certainly not of the compassionate, warm, giving woman who was in front of me. What was underneath the heaviness, her spirit was anything but heavy. From what she told me before we met, I knew this was a big reason she was coming to see me. She missed the person she once was, as well as the one she knew that she could be. Feeling guilty? She filled me in on the many roles of her life: mother, wife, daughter, boss, nonprofit chairperson, to name a few. I could feel the weariness in my own body as I heard her describe all that she was fitting into a day. I asked her, what kinds of things do you like to do just for you? She said, well, I go to the gym when I can. Great, I said. Exercise is so important. What else? She thought for a while and then began to give me a list of things she used to do, but didn't have time for anymore. I asked her what it would be like to find and take some time for herself in the next week. She was adamant that there wasn't any time to do that. I asked her how it would feel if we were able to find some time in her schedule for her to do something just for herself. She said it would feel really good. I heard there was more and said, and Betty answered, well, sometimes now when I do things just for myself, I feel guilty. It feels a little selfish. Yes, I thought that's what I suspected. The shift from selfish to selfful. I'm still a little surprised when I hear people out in the world expressing that taking care of themselves seems selfish. I hear so much talk about self-care out there, and since there's so much talk, I guess I think we would have come further by now. It's just that so many people are simply talking and not practicing it. That honoring yourself by putting yourself first is selfish is an old belief, and there's no better time than now to shift it. That's what I'm now using as a term to describe this beautiful, courageous act. Self-full. It sounds a lot better than selfish, don't you think? And let's get clear. I don't mean you shouldn't be doing things for others or that you shouldn't consider your others. What I do mean is starting with you. And she has that in all caps. So what is self-full for you? Here are some questions to get you started. What do you value most, and how do you honor that in your daily activities? What do you say yes to, and what do you say no to, and why? What are you committed to, and what do you do out of obligation? We talked about that yesterday here. When do you take some time just for yourself so you get clarity about where you are and remember who you are? When you are clear about who you are and are honoring that person instead of who you think you should be, you are selfful. Selfish means you're thinking only of yourself with no regard to others. Self-full means you have filled yourself up first. So helping others feels fulfilling and energizing. Win-win. When you start with you and are taking time regularly to consciously connect with what is most important to you, there's a lot more clarity and direction. You have more awareness of how you are spending your time and why. You are able to say no to activities that deplete you because you know that by saying no, you're doing everyone a favor. As you fill up more and more, you are able to be present, to give, contribute, listen, communicate, and be at a completely new level. That's what being selfful allows for, and the possibilities are endless. So here's a couple exercises. Let's see. A couple exercises. Exercises to start today. Becoming selfful takes a bit of training if you aren't used to it. Here are a few exercises to get you started. Exercise 1, start noticing how you spend your time. You can be like a researcher with this one. Notice how you spend the hours in your day, both during work and playtime. What do you notice after you have spent time in a certain way? That is, does it energize you or deplete you? Be curious. Number 2, ask the magic question, why am I doing this? There are a lot of reasons we do something. Because it fills us up, because it is important to us, because it leads us to where we want to go, because we are committed to a cause or an outcome, etc. I also get that answer because I have to a lot, or I have no choice. I love this answer because it leads to more exploration. You don't have to, and you always have a choice. So if you find yourself answering in that way, you can then ask, what is it that I'm choosing here? Exercise 3, create you some sacred time. Create some sacred you time. This is a big one. What does that look like? You might ask. Well, it looks different for everyone. And for some people, it might be 5 minutes a day, or it might be an hour a day. It could be an activity, an artistic endeavor, a walk, journaling, listen to music, anything. It is sacred because you don't give it up. If you need to move it to another time, you do. You don't skip it. If this were a child you were caring for, would you skip it? No. So why would you skip it for you? If you would like support with this, read Guided You. Small steps, big difference. This is the last part right here where she sums it up. The last time I saw Betty, she reported that she had brought out some of her old paintings. She wasn't quite ready to start painting herself, but just having them out was a reminder of how connected she feels when she is doing something creative. She now has a practice of sacred Betty time, which includes different things that refuel and fill her up. She's dedicated to this time for herself. She has let go of some of her commitments and is much more present in all of her roles. There's a lightness around her, both inside and out. And each time I meet with her, I see more of her and more of her. What a beautiful sight. When we are selfful, we are able to connect with who we really are, not the obligations or shoulds or busyness of life. We're able to meet our commitments in a way that is full and not depleted. We can tap into an inner fuel that allows us to give, contribute, be at a level that is easeful and powerful. I like to ask the question, what if we were all selfful? What do you think the world would look like then? Can you imagine? Just feel into that for a bit. And this month, the invitation is to experiment with the idea of being selfful. That vision of the world being selfful starts with you. So play, explore, and enjoy. That was amazing. That was an amazing article. And so the author is... Okay, so Valentino. So I imagine that her name is Valentino. And for some reason, I don't see her. Oh, by Janet. It just says Janet. Okay. It's a beautiful article. I'm actually going to put this up on my Facebook page right now, because I think that this is a great article to refer to. Have you ever heard of the word selfful? This is great. So you all can check this out. It's on my Facebook page at Aaron Hill TV. If you want to be able to refer back to that, have a read through. Yes. What does it mean to be selfful? And so if you'd like to come to the stage, by all means, I would love to continue to chop it up about this subject. I can imagine that this topic gave you some thoughts about your own life and either where you have been being selfful or trying to learn to be selfful, or realize that your ass needs to be more selfful. And so, yeah, you can also ping someone in who you think would also enjoy this conversation, by all means. And I want to say hello again to Keshna, Amber, Delia, and Dominique. Let's chop it up about this. And if you'd like to just continue to hang out and just enjoy the conversation, by all means, you can do that too. Thanks for coming through. Yes, yes. Good morning, Delia.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I just restarted yoga. I kind of fell off. So this morning I restarted my yoga.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm here for the being selfful.
Yes. You know, I think my favorite part about falling off is how good it feels to get back on. And especially with stuff like yoga, Delia, like when you get down and you do that first stretch again, you're like, oh my God. Like you fall in love all over again. You know what I'm saying?
I almost started at day one. I was like, you know
Yes.
what? I'm just going to keep on going and start at day one next month. I just want to, I'm going to finish. It's 30 days of yoga and I fell off at 14.
Yeah.
Because I was doing it every few days along with other workouts. So I fell off at day 14. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to power through and finish my end. I'm just going to do a couple and do as many as I can.
That's it. So, you know, one of my favorite things about yoga, and I practice, you know, yoga every morning. And I also, you know, do that along with my meditation, like simultaneously. And I think my favorite thing about yoga is just, you know, it's selffulness number one. 101, selffulness 101. I mean, you're giving yourself that time to just kind of stretch and just be with your body. And then the fact that you don't even have to get out of bed to do yoga, like to start like stretching and that kind of thing is the wild part. We were laughing about that yesterday. We're like, yeah, I don't know if this is a good thing or not so good. But you know, in my meditation and mindfulness courses, you know, the biggest talk is around this idea of reconnecting and how the real meditation, the real mindfulness, the real yoga is really in the reconnecting. You know, it's because it's a constant plugging and unplugging. You know, so it almost feels like having those moments of, as you say, quote unquote, falling off. It kind of gives a good feeling to the next session. Like it makes you cherish it even deeper, you know, when you get back into it. Like I always joke and I say, like, now I'm to the point where if I miss my mindfulness and meditation practice in the morning, I need a mindfulness and meditation practice to help me with the triggers of missing my mindfulness and meditation practice. Cause I just like, now I like love it that much. Like it's so, I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, that reconnecting, you know, to me is the most powerful aspect of this lifestyle. Yeah. So what you starting with today? You know, what's your routine like?
My kid has gotten back into co-sleeping, so she forces herself into our bed probably around 1 a.m. So really, it's just negotiating to get Luna out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey, you want to pick something to wear? You want to
right.
get a snack?
Right. Routines.
Somehow she stopped. Yeah, she handed us a remote. She's
right.
like, Mama, phone, glasses, remote. She's like, okay, you got everything you need to start your day. Let me I
right.
give you what you want, phone, glasses. You give me remote.
And we're good, right? Right. She let me find out. They say, let me find out. She so
well trained.
I was just about to say, let me find out she negotiating first thing in the morning, like she negotiating trade and shit. You're like, okay, you got a bright future in front of you. We're gonna drop you right into the cryptocurrency game. You trading already.
I
love that.
Like, this is what mommy gets. You know, Dada normally plays on his computer when he lets her watch cartoons.
Yeah.
So she'll go, Dada, sit. I was like, I'll come to his computer chair. Here, play game.
Right.
Luna, remote. Do the thing.
You're like, wait a minute, who is the parent here?
And who knows who to go to, because I don't really like that much television. I try to keep it to a minimum.
Right.
But when he's playing his video games, the cartoons will just be running.
Right.
I'm doing whatever, and I come upstairs, the cartoon's just on. Heavy rotation. So she knows who to call.
Right.
When she just wants to veg out.
Oh man, I tell you, this to me, like, you know, as a father, you know, a couple times over, like this to me is like always one of the like most intriguing and joyous parts. Like just seeing how they start to put the world together and make sense of things, you know, where you're like, wow, like you've really putting this together. And then you get to that point where they put something together that like is on point. They remind you of something and you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be teaching you and reminding you, and you like, okay. You two going on 22. I see. That is so funny. That is so comical. You know, yeah, and Luna's very bright. Look at mom, you know, look at dad. So yeah. Tell me more about your I'm curious more about your yoga routine. Your practice. Meaning like my routine, like the foundation of my routine is from when I went to the chiropractor, like I guess it was 2019. And I started getting some back exercises, you know, some exercises for low back pain. And then that led me to doing yoga exercises there, and then to a yoga class as well, you know, where we just kind of do some basic stretch. I would say some like beginner to, I would say to intermediate. I would say like medium, you know, not like crazy hard, but definitely intermediate. I'm curious about your flow because I'm you know, learning more about yoga. I'm always looking for new stretches and that kind of thing. How long is your routine, I guess, first?
It varies. It can be 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it depends on. Currently, it depends on what yoga with Adrian is telling me to do. I just follow her.
Gotcha. Okay.
She seems cool.
Right.
She's super chill. I find her on YouTube, and we just yoga.
Yeah.
I used 2018.
Yeah.
Adrian, 2020 Adrian, she's really rich. It looks like.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I stick with 2018 Adrian with the crunchy hipster apartment. I'm not trying to get too aspirational first thing in the morning.
You know what though? I like what you're saying there. Like, even though I've never seen her, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, basically you have like a person when they're in that a particular mindset where it's just real as fuck. Like it's real, it's down to earth. You like it's a particular kind of essence to it, you know? And yeah, I feel you on that because I have a lot of creators of different things where certain eras I'm like, I like that version of them best. You know, I want that. That's what I need right there. So I feel you on that.
Sometimes you do need someone on your level.
Yeah.
I remember when I felt especially busted. I remember there was a point when I was dating when I didn't need to be dating. Like, you know, it was like you need to be focusing on yourself. I was dating for fun, and I was online, and I kind of fell in love with the mental image of somebody,
right?
Because they seemed like they didn't have their ish together. I thought it was so attractive. I went out on a date with her,
right?
And it turned out that she did have her ish together, but she was just kind of in a rut. And I was just like, no. I really don't have my ish together. It's a long-term project. I just need someone here.
Right.
I don't need someone because I was a divorcee, and not having my own ish together, and he had his ish together.
Right.
I was trying to fit my ish into his ish,
and I get that. I get that.
Okay, you and me building together same time, and so I think that's what it is with me and the Adrian character. Like, I am beginning. I'm trying to get started. I don't need more goop lifestyle blogger, aspirational imagery. Like, I don't need you to have the great apartment or the studio or whatever. I just need
substance.
Crunchy. Yeah, like you're adorable. Your yoga pants are cheap. Let's
go. Let's get it. It's funny you saying this though, because I understand exactly what you're saying. What you're saying. It's a certain like mindset, right? There's a certain mindset that the person is in. You know, when that we're the person as in just like us, the human being, certain mindsets that we're in where we're in, certain scenarios in life, and our mindset changes when we're in other scenarios. For me, it's interesting we're talking about this because, a lot of times we fit it into different categories, sometimes we call it keeping it real or keeping it 100 or, sometimes it's just like, I just appreciate this particular chapter, this season of where this person is, mind, body, soul, that kind of thing. And so what I try to do is carry like what you see in her in that scenario. I try to carry that through like every scenario in life. I try to carry that essence, that way of being, because I know what you're talking about. Like you're talking about like the presentation, but also like the mindset that she's in and what you feel from her, what you get from her. Yeah. I love that. I
guess the difference between people who are like giving off I've arrived vibes versus growth.
Oh my gosh, I love that. People who have given off I've arrived
vibes. It doesn't matter where you are in life,
right?
Because having people who are growing ahead of you,
right?
That's wonderful, and it's also humanizing because it's like, okay, you're a work in progress too.
Right.
Like, I don't have to envy or like you show me the realistic impression of what it's like to be where you are. It's not idealized. I see that you stumble. I see
right.
that you're human. And I'm human too. Maybe I can get there. So it makes it more realistic. So that the aspirational aspect of it can actually be motivated and versus people who like give off, I've arrived, I'm here, I'm done.
Right.
I just can't connect with it because I think I always am a work in progress, and I will always be a work in progress.
Right. I definitely feel you on that. You know, there's so many people. Hey, say what's up to our good brother Eric Harrison. What's up, family? Good morning to you, fam. Good to see you, man. By all means, bro, if you want to come up and hang out, for sure, we're here. If you're taking over the world, bro, love you, man. Keep doing what you do. Hope all is well, fam. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm so with you. I could not be more with you. Like, I'm allergic to I've arrived presentations. You know, I've arrived and you can arrive too. You know, it's very elitist. You know, it's very like it's not practical. You know, to our everyday life. You know, it paints a picture that's not realistic when it comes to not only the different stages where we are in life, but also, like you're saying now, life in general. You know, the human being will always experience, because it's cyclical and you just keep growing and evolving. So, you know, we'll always experience times where we feel completely confident, you know, where we feel strong in what we know. And then there'll be other times when we will be feeling completely inadequate and vulnerable, you know, and trying to grow and realizing there's another stage to it. So, like, all you do when you come across with that I've arrived attitude and presentation is you set up a false narrative and you really prepare people for a huge disappointment in their life. I like the way Kim Briscoe said it, you know, not too long ago, where he was like, disappointments are just failed expectations. And what happens is there's an expectation that's painted by these kind of like, I've arrived. And so, you know, here's where I am. It gives this expectation that when you get to that place that you'll feel whole and complete and everything is like, feels all good. But that person that's in that position, and you and I both know this, Dalia, that person that's saying that I've arrived stuff, 99.9999999% of those people don't feel adequate inside, are actually trying to push. They don't feel good, right? But they're just painting that image so that they can get other people to believe in that image in order to believe what they're saying and invest in them. And then hopefully they'll have the type of life that they like to have. So it's like literally setting people up for failure, because even 99.9% of people who feel like they quote unquote have arrived actually don't feel that way. And that's why they're coming off like that. To me, nobody who feels like they arrive actually does that. But what's more important, I was just going to say what's more important is what you're saying, which is that every day, the reality of life is that every day is a process. And we always feel accomplished at every journey and every stage of the journey, and are striving for the next stage. Go ahead, Dalia.
And, you know, when you pull back the layers with the people around you,
yeah,
you realize that that's always the case. Some people have hey, Sana Hada. Hey, Sherry.
Hey. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, you want to...
Go ahead. No, you continue. I like where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for your mindfulness.
Yeah, some people have just harder, you know, a thicker veneer. And it takes more time to break down those barriers. But once you get to know people and they let their guard down, you see the truth.
Yes.
I remember I was talking to somebody and they were like, oh yeah, such and such, they got their ish together, and they didn't know them that well. I was like, this person, she has her ish together? I was like, okay, well, he said, well, blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I was like, well, yeah, she's got that, but she's also, because she talks to me. So I was like,
right.
And I had to explain to him, like, what you don't know is beyond you. Like
right.
So like let's say if I have at the time I was poorly paid at my job, but I was a technical writer, which I had been aiming to do. I just wasn't paid accordingly, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
yep.
Reached that modicum.
I know that. Look, I know that.
I was complaining about my
yeah. I like how you put that though.
So I was like, look, I can shake someone's hand. Like I was like, I can shake someone's hand and say, hello, I'm a technical editor at a machining company,
right.
and blah blah blah. I can just say that. Like for that, I could technically say I was in public relations, even though again I was not paid accordingly. So now it's more true. Like all the things align professionally, but at the time, the veneer would look like I've got it all together. Come to my house, I've got it all together. I was like, you don't know people, and you can look at their seat. There's curriculum vitae. They can shake your hand and sell you something, sell you a fantasy. Very
That's
easy,
it.
without even lying.
That's it. Without even lying, right?
And I look like a walking dream.
Oh my goodness. You are that's why I like talking about this, because there's practical and there's impractical, and coming across in that way does not help. I love those thoughts. Thank you for those thoughts, Delia. Quick reset of the room, everyone. Welcome. Good morning to you, the good brother T, Eric, Sanahada, and of course Amber, Delia, and everybody that's hanging out over here on FB Live and YT. Yes. And so we're talking about this topic of what it means to be self-full. Self-full is the new selfish. Just finished reading an amazing article. Delia, was that article? I was thinking about you while I was reading that the whole time, because the imagery, the visual, the way that she was painting the picture, and with the way I appreciate it, and with the way that I have learned how you appreciate, language that is really evocative and imaginative and really paints a picture. Was that article not the shit? That article was dope.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Yeah. What does it mean to be self-full? Self-full. So what I'm going to do is, if you all would like to hear that article, by all means, after this, at some point later today, take this from the top. Go check this out on FB, my FB, or YT, Facebook, YouTube, at Aaron Hill TV, or on my podcast, the Aaron Hill Podcast, because that article was absolutely amazing. And I think, I'm going to see if I got a bit of time. I might actually, after I finish the morning show, I might actually go live immediately and just do that as an article response, like how I do in my article response series. But what I'm going to do here is, at least for the context of the conversation, I'm going to go back and just give a brief definition. What does it mean to be self-full? To be self-full is to be aware of who you are. It is to accept yourself, everything that you stand for, what you believe in, and every thought that you have. It is to recognize that we are one with ourselves and we fully embrace it. And then there was another definition here. And this was from the Selfful, the New Selfish article. In fact, I put it up on my Facebook page too, everybody. The article is on my Facebook page right now, if you want to read it. And so here, a summary is when you are clear. It starts off, says, what does selfful mean? You have filled yourself up. When you are clear about who you are and are honoring that person instead of who you think you should be, you are selfful. Selfful means you have fulfilled yourself. I keep saying fulfilled there. You have filled yourself up first, so helping others feels fulfilling and energizing. Win-win. All right, let's see if they got even another one here. Okay, here's one last one. I like reading it from different sources so you can hear the same definition different ways. Kind of gives you a different perspective. All right. let's see here. And it's interesting because it's not like this author said, it's not disregarding others, it's taking into account yourself while considering others. All right. So at the core, you may have heard the term selfful being tossed around. The concept is to do things for you, not because you're being selfish, but because sometimes it is necessary. It may sound scary to people who suffer from poor mental health, but let's take a look at why it's important. And that's what we're going to continue to talk about today, what it means to be selfful. So on that tip, everybody, let's open up our microphones. And by all means, if you'd like to come to the stage, you know the deal. Give a wave. The goal is to say, hey. And so as we continue, let's say, good morning to Sanahata Amashandra. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you.
Yeah, I had to find the rhythm, right? I got you. I think I found you somewhere in there. We might have met up a couple times.
You know what I figured out? So I would bet that we just nailed it. We just were perfectly in time. Because what I've learned from being here on Clubhouse for a bit now and having this, music thing going, this flow thing, is that there's like, I don't even know how to measure it. I can tell it by ear, but if I was able to put it in numbers, it'd be something like there's a 1.5 millisecond delay. And if you time it just right, then you're in time, even though you feel slightly out of time. Anywho, one time for your mind. Right. That's it. You gotta feel it.
Yeah, like we talk about being self-full. Feel it yourself.
Let's get it.
It's real. I love what you're talking about. And first, I want to say real quick, to the people down, because I haven't seen y'all in a minute. Eric, missed you. I know it's not going on. Much love, T. We never really rap, but what's up? I see you every day. I see you whenever I'm here.
T.
And hey,
Marcy.
Pass the love to the people, because I may have blinked out the room before.
Yes.
But if people are hanging in the audience, because life is life. Eric looking like he had a meeting right now.
Eric's taking over the world right now, like the entire world right now. And look at this.
Somebody's got to do it.
Right.
Somebody's got to do it. It might as well be Eric.
Right. Along with the crew. That's what we're here doing. We are taking over the world one conversation at a time. Do you know? So we were here I was telling the history of this selfful word and how it came up for me maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago. We're here December, 25th or something like that. We're hanging out. Great time, great conversation. Good morning. And so I read one of my quotes, and it has to do with this idea of being selfish so that you can be selfless. And my whole thought is the goal is to make sure that you take care of you, that you check in with you, that you really hold and embrace and serve you, so that way you can move forward from there and you can do the same. You can hold space for others. You can hold others. You can serve others. You can make it do what it do. And so as I was explaining this, we were having a fun conversation, and Auntie G was like, hey, I think it was either Auntie G. It was Auntie G, because she was adamant after that. Every time I said it, she was like, it's not selfish. It is selfful. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Thanks, Auntie G. And I was like, yes, so you got to be selfful. And so we, I looked it up there. We talked about it some more. And I was like, oh, this is exactly what I've been trying to say. Exactly. Because this is the balance here. This is that center. This is that midpoint, finding that place where we can be totally, deeply aware of ourselves, so that it gives us the capacity to be aware of someone else in a healthy way, and all is one and balanced.
The first thought that comes to mind for me is I've been hearing you talk about selfful, and as I'm learning to include me and the we. You know, I like to take. I'm a servant leader. You know that.
Yes.
And as someone who gives regularly, oftentimes I didn't include me. In fact, I operated from the very notorious trait of many caretakers or caregivers, which is to give it all away. You know, give it all away. Hopeful, praying, will somebody please come water me? I gave my bottle of water to that one over there. So can someone come give me their bottle of water? You know. And so, not that, I'm not mad at myself. I wouldn't even call it poor mental health. I would call it a condition that I needed to walk into awareness of, right? It wasn't something that I didn't know. I just didn't know it. So now that I have continued to grow and expand into including me and removing those things that kept me from including me. You know, one of the things I've told you before, Aaron, is like, you are my primary example right now for what it means to make sure that I get mine. You help me to remember that I must be clear, like get absolutely clear on what feels good, what doesn't feel good. I have to know. And I really not only encourage, but challenge. Like, step to my sisters, step to the women I know, step to the people I know.
Right.
And my first, when I start hearing certain things, and I hear the language, I'm like, are you in that? Are you? Are you in the love that you're giving? Like,
right.
And two things I'll say, and I may, we may not be able to rap too long because I'm like on 1% and I'm sitting on the charger. It's all
run
good.
to that charger.
It pop, you're on here forever, so I'll come back in and see where you are. But two things came up. The first thing was giving from the overflow as a practice for life. And when we understand that, there's no way that based on what we can even conceive of, there is no way we can be outside of this thing called life, this thing called the universe, this thing called, heavens, whatever. We just can't get out of it. Like, no one's found an escape hatch. Where would you go anyway?
Right.
And because of that, it means that if we call that source, if we call that God, whatever we call or whatever language we want to use for it, even as we're having our very finite human experience, you still include all that stuff from out in the heavens. So you are that.
Right.
We are that. And so when I fill myself up with that, I don't go look for God outside of me.
Yeah.
I don't go look for anything outside of me. And I was reading that. I was actually going to send it to you this morning. You just got to listen to like the last little part is so good. It was so practical. That book, the Chiron book, I think I sent it to you before, but the Light Workers Manual.
Okay.
It's a YouTube video. It's a particular channel that I love. I'll tell you the channel if the phone don't let me down. I was listening to Les Brown in the car with the little girl. That's our new thing now, motivational videos.
Nice.
In the morning. But I'll pull that up so I can tell you. But that's what came forward for me. Like when I'm hearing you say soulful, it's when we get in right order. When we pay attention to our own inner guidance, when we learn to trust ourselves, when we look for the nudges that say, well, I like that. Well, I don't know if I like that. Well, how did I feel with that? Like you discover what's inside, and you can't discover what's inside if you never check in and say, I really ain't like that shit.
Yes.
Or if you don't check in and say, I actually love that shit.
Yeah.
Or if you do like I've done, which is clear some of your pain and clear some of your stuff and realize like, well, shit, that really was just me and my shit. And so now let me hold me. So that's what's coming up for me, at least trying to stay within the realm of this device, not time.
I feel you right. It almost like, do you remember Ace Ventura? Remember Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, the first one? Did you ever see it? You remember it? When he'd be like, so what I'm trying to tell you is this, and he just he just get it all out.
Oh my God.
Right. Now I feel you on that 1%. Now what you're saying is, I mean, I love this topic of what it means to be selfful, because again, it's finding that beautiful balance, that healthy balance. And when you think about our history, with all the things that we've dealt with emotionally and the way that we've had to deal with our emotions and the way that we've dealt with our emotions, like this is seeing the light of day right here, you know.
Yes.
It's seeing the light of day. So
yes. Yes, I can see clearly now.
Yes.
Yes. Good. I'm telling you, because we weren't there.
Right.
As humanity, as a collective, at least as these members, I feel like more and more of us are growing into our awareness of our personal authority and in some ways it's like, well, I don't take nothing from my journey, because I wouldn't take anything from my journey, because so many of my traumas.
100%. So appreciate that. Much love, Amma. I don't know if your phone is now powering down, like, it's leaving, it's going. Go grab that white cable. I know that feeling. Look, I have, so I know you're using a pad, but I have an iPhone. And for everybody that has iPhones, if you do not have the charger case, like the Apple Smart Charger, in fact, I'm holding it up in front of the screen on the live video so you can see it. If you don't have this kind of charger, I know life is pretty rough, because I'm telling you, Apple products, I mean, they're better now than they used to be, but oh my goodness, they used to be really ridiculous. Like, as soon as you finish charging up your phone, take it off, you get going about your morning, an hour later, you're at 1%. You're like, what the fuck? You know what? So yeah, ever since that, I had to get me one of those Apple chargers. But yes, that's a way of being selfful. Go get a charger. I love this topic. What does it mean to be selfful? What does it mean to be selfful? I had never heard of this word until Auntie G said it. Never heard of it. I heard of a lot of things. Never heard of what it means to be selfful. So we're going to keep going with that topic in different ways, shapes, and forms. Right now, let's say good morning to Sherry as we go into our segment with Sherry. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm well.
Yes.
I am well. It is well with my soul.
All right.
And even when it ain't, it's gonna be all right.
You know, it's still one of my favorite songs to play. You know, I don't play much gospel. I don't play any gospel music anymore. But when it comes to like sitting down at the piano and playing certain tunes that like, it's not even about the theology or anything like that. It's literally about simple principles, like just being well, you know, and you feel it, you know, like, man, that's one of those tunes for me. I sit down, and then I'm a sucker for a 6/8 beat. I'm a sucker for that swing. That shit. Oh my God, that's that 9/8, that 6/8. Anyway. Yeah, but that's a joint. So it is definitely well. I know that it's coming right up on 9. I don't know if you gotta run to get the miracle happening, or you know.
No, I'm definitely working on my miracle morning today, but
I got
a few. Sweet. I got some time.
Got some time. Sweet. So, first of all, let's get into this thing. You know, selfful. Had you ever heard of this term before?
No, but can you? I think I know what it means. Can you tell me how it's being used, please?
Yeah. So, selfful basically just means it's that balance place. You know, it's that ability to check in, look out for others while you're looking out for yourself. To be aware. Yeah, to be aware of who you are, to accept yourself, everything that you stand for, what you believe in, and everything, and how you fully embrace that. But this is the one right here. This two-part. Let me read this to you. So when you're clear about who you are and you're honoring that person instead of who you think you should be, you are selfful. Selfful means you have filled yourself up first, so helping others feels fulfilling and energizing. Win-win. And then this one right here is I think probably the one. Concern excessively was no, not that. That's selfish. My bad. There was another one.
To answer your question, I've not heard the term, but I am very much a practitioner of it.
Right. Yeah, I love it. That balance, that place. Many times we are dealing with circumstances and situations where it's kind of like people are in certain situations where it's my feelings or your feelings. I'm right. If I'm right, that means you have to be wrong. If you're right, that means, oh my God, I have to be wrong. It's these far, edge, black and white kind of, thinking.
Oh,
yeah. And so because of all that we've been through, and how we've had to relate to our emotions and how we've been relating to them, we were in a lot of black and white situations. You had to stuff it down. You had to keep going. It was either I was right or you were wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's primitive thinking, it makes sense. In evolution, though, like what Amma was saying, you continue to evolve forward. And now we're in this other place where, number one, we don't have to be so frantic about our disagreements. And then number two, we just know more about our emotions. So this word selfful for me is becoming one of my new favorite and most important words, because even though I just learned about it in December from Auntie G here while we were having a conversation, and I was like, you got to be selfish in order to be selfless. And she was like, I think you mean selfful. I was like, oh man, this is what I've been saying all this time, even though I didn't know this was the word for it. And it's what I've been experiencing all this time, even though I didn't know there was a word for it.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I can say that in general, even as a child, I've never done well with black or white. It's either black or it's white. There's a term where they talk about people who have couples or people that are having a disagreement, and they're like, there's what he said, what she said, and then what's real in between. Right? And to me, that what's real in between is that gray area, and not in the way that we think of gray. It's what's, the concentric circle where it overlaps. Not concentric, the overlapping circles.
Right.
Because that's what's in the middle. And
right. I love that.
You have to take care of yourself, and to do that, you have to find the truth in it. Even if it means admitting that you were wrong, or that you didn't understand, or really taking time to self-reflect. And then again, to your point of all that we've been through, right? I'm sure most people here don't know, but for me, it's just been learning through death my entire life. And really having to process those things.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. It's interesting how different circumstances, allow us to lean into different emotions. I know you to be a deep empath, deeply a person who feels others' feelings, as you feel your own, but it takes a lot to be able to develop this feeling, not this feeling, but this state, this experience of being selfful, finding that balance. But that's why I like talking about it so much, because just talking about it and dealing with things like emotional intelligence and, helping each other to figure out how to work through problems, how to work through, communication breakdowns, or, just how to work through different things in our relationships. It all points to this place of being selfful, because again, you learn how to consider others, but not at the expense of considering yourself, and we need that in every area of our lives.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. It's not just relationships, it's in all areas. I talk about when the wheels come off, right?
Yeah.
And things fall apart. You really have to. I learned to. Let me rephrase that. I learned to be selfful when the wheels came off, because I had to reflect on, how did I get here?
Right.
How did things just fall apart? And then, you know, a few years ago when things literally fell apart, I had to figure out how to put myself back together. And forgive myself for not being self-full.
Right.
Because I kept pouring and pouring and pouring for job, for family, for friends, for church, for everything else. And I was like, dang it. And I found myself like completely collapsed.
Right.
Literally. I was trying to find something poetic to say, but the truth of the matter is I was down. Your girl was out.
Right.
Okay, woman down.
Right.
So yeah.
I definitely understand that. This is an interesting topic, and I'm definitely looking forward to continuing on this morning with this topic. I want to say hello again to T and Marcy. Marcy, I just want to tell you, if you know, whether I get a chance to speak to you or not today, I want to tell you that I was like, I'm surprised the app didn't have error messages yesterday, just from how much I was celebrating while I was in Coco's room, and Coco and Marcy. Coco was doing a coaching session with Marcy with how to turn your story into a TED Talk. And it was so amazing. Marcy, I want you to know I was so enjoying that. And I was just, I was right along with you as far as that excitement for what was happening in that moment. So we're going to continue with this topic of what it means to be selfful. Sherry, what do you got for us today for our uncommon Black history fact of the day?
Well, the great queen, Assata Shakur.
Wow.
One of my favorite people.
Now you're gonna make me. Now you're gonna make me listen to Biggie's Assata Shakur song today. I was already listening to "Sky Is the Limit" this morning, and now I'm gonna be listening to that.
I don't think I know
Common. I meant to say Common. My bad. Common song. Listen to My Love, Assata, from the Like Water for Chocolate album. I'll send it to you if you haven't heard it.
Yeah. Assata, so let me tell you a little bit about her, but before I do that, let me just say Assata is near and dear to my heart. When I transferred from a PWI to the illustrious Mecca called Howard University.
Yes.
And I love Howard so much for so many reasons. But one of the reasons that I love it is because it taught me and rooted me in how to love my Blackness and how to love my history and how to love myself. You know, being a little brown girl that was teased and, you know, called names and things like that.
Right.
Howard made me strong, and I love it. But Assata was the first book that one of the street vendors in DC put in my hand and was like, "Sister, you need to read this." And when I read it, I wept because I realized how much people had been through and kind of made this seem that they were worse and horrible people than what they had been. And I understood where she was coming from.
Wow.
So that being said, let me just tell you, Assata is the first book that I ever read. I missed bus stops and all kinds of stuff sitting on the train in DC. But she is also born and raised as Joanne Deborah Chesamard. She is a former member of the Black Liberation Army, or the BLA, and she was convicted on first-degree murder of a state trooper in the infamous Jersey Turnpike shootout in 1973. She continues to stay on the FBI's 40 most wanted list with a reward I think currently of $2 million for her apprehension. And if you really check out the history, I encourage anybody to read the book. Please read the book.
Right.
Assata was in a shootout. She was charged with murder and arrested for robbery, bank robbery, kidnapping. She was
acquitted of 3 of the charges and 3 were dismissed. But in 1977, she was convicted of the murder of the state trooper and of 7 other felonies related to the shootout. So her defense argued medical evidence suggested her innocence, and she was serving a life sentence for murder, and then she escaped from the correctional facility in 1979, and then later resurfaced in 1984 in Cuba, where she still lives, and she was given asylum, political asylum there. Right. And so she was the... Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. She was the first woman added to the FBI's most wanted list.
That's wild.
She is my hero. She really is. Right. And I'm not doing her justice in what I'm telling about her right now, because she endured a lot, and she led me down this rabbit hole of falling in love with Black history.
Wow.
Because I had been taught so differently. What was left out of our school books and then what was included was not accurate.
Right. Yep. When I tell you you were speaking my language, you were all over my street.
And your mom was a teacher, so understand this. I was the kid that if I went to school and my teacher said that the sky was purple, and I believed my teacher because I loved school and I loved my teachers. And my father worked so hard to tell me about things like the Black Panther Party and what it meant to be a civil rights activist. And I just thought that he was radical, not knowing truly what the term radical meant. And I was like, oh, Daddy, that was when you were coming up. That's not my time, but it is our time. And again, Howard taught me that. I called my dad crying one time when I first got there and apologized to him for not hearing him.
Wow.
Because he was trying to teach me so much of our history. And I was just like, yeah, but that was then and this is now. And then I realized that it was always going to be now.
Wow.
So I love history. I love, teachers, but a lot was left out. And Howard helped me see a lot of things and become the woman that I am. I still love my school.
Wow. That is powerful. That is powerful. I so enjoyed hearing this and hearing not only these facts, but these facts of your life, and how they integrate and shape who you are. It's pretty deep. It's pretty amazing. It's wild because I was looking at the write-up, and for her to be added to the FBI Most Wanted list in 2013, I'm like, wow. Wow. Right. Like, why don't they just leave this woman alone?
Yeah, just let it go. Let it go and let her be. Like, it's a lot about that. And also, if you haven't checked out the history of Afeni Shakur, which is Tupac Shakur's mom.
Yeah.
And I get teary-eyed about her because, she was the first woman to actually try her own case and win.
Right. That was one thing I didn't know.
Party. And a lot of people don't know that about her, especially the younger generation or our generation who is like, oh yeah, Tupac's mom. No, Afeni was that woman. And she really, really did a lot of things. And I had the pleasure to meet her, and I'm a crybaby, so of course I cried when I saw her because I was just like, I read about you in my history books, and I admire you, not being Tupac's mom, but the woman that you are, and she gave birth to Tupac in jail.
Right. So, right.
When you read about the Black Panther Party, they weren't this like shoot 'em up by any means necessary the way that they've been painted. They were by any means necessary. We will take care of our own and do what we need to do for the betterment, for the good of Black people.
Right.
So it was so enlightening and empowering when I started to learn that they were doing food programs before anybody even thought about Meals on Wheels or any of that. They were taking care of kids in the hood who didn't have food.
Right.
You know, they were doing a lot of great things, but that wasn't in my history book.
Right. Yep. I was just watching a video this morning that was talking about us and the Native Americans, the Native Indian Americans, who are the Native Indians, you know, and just and just all of the histories and stuff that is whitewashed and pushed aside. But that's why I'm glad that we're able to have these experiences and learn this kind of stuff today, because knowledge is really powerful.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And if nothing else, what I learned was that we have to take our understanding into our own hands, and you can't just leave it to what we are taught through school or in the news or any of those things. We have to be willing to dig to find the truth of the information, because just reading, you know, at a surface level or learning at a surface level is not enough.
Not at all. And so with that, I want to do a quick refresh of the room. I want to say good morning again to Noah, Eric, T, Marcy, and everybody hanging over here. In fact, D Love Harrison says, good morning, King. Stay safe and have a great weekend. Thank you to you. Thank you so much, D, as always, for hanging out and coming through. And so we're talking about a number of things here. This topic of the day today, which has been carrying on in different ways, is like, what does it mean to be selfful? What does it mean to be selfful? Selfful is the new selfish, because here's another way of looking at it. Selfful is an adjective to describe a person that is concerned about bettering oneself without disregarding others. Selfless, selfful. Here's a way to put it in a sentence. Tommy became a selfful man when he decided to stop partying with his friends every day and go to college. Gina made a selfful decision when she decided not to drive drunk with her friends when her friends begged her to take them home. What does it mean to be selfful to you? When's the last time you've been selfful? I read an article this morning that was like, oh man, it really touched me deeply, because it's really like holding up a mirror right in front of my face. I've been a person that was fortunate to have the breeding grounds of becoming selfful. I always talk about my mom. I've never talked about my mom so much as I have in this last year. But it's because as the years continue to go forward, for me, I'm more and more grateful for the foundation. I'm more and more grateful for the education and the exposure to a number of things in life, through books, through museums, through being in activities like theater and martial arts and sports. My mother put me into activities of all sorts. And the whole idea was, as she said, now I got this new information. I got this late breaking news, y'all, in the last couple of months. I just learned that not only did my mother, you know, she was a teacher's assistant at 31 when she had me. She became a teacher, and she would go on to teach in the school system for the next 36 years. But at 31, having me and her having the occupation of being in the school system, she already had planned for me to have education. But then she added one more thing to that. 7 months before I was born, she sat in a classroom, as she said, and she took out her notebook and her pen or pencil, and she started writing down all the deficiencies that she saw in the other kids. And she made a vow from there to reverse engineer and work backwards, to work with that list to immediately highlight the places where she saw the deficiency in other kids so that I wouldn't be deficient. And then on top of that, an education. So I'm really grateful because that education and exposure, it helped me to start building my emotional intelligence. It started helping me to build my self-awareness, my self-regulation, my social skills, my empathy. So that would allow me to not only have successful relationships of all sorts, but it would also give me the ability to know how to check in with my own feelings too and make sure I was looking out for me while I looked out for everybody else as well. So what does it mean to be selfful? What does this mean to you? If you'd like to come to the stage, by all means, I would love to hear your thoughts and to hear what you think about this topic of being selfful. And if not, if you're taking over the world from behind your desk, or you'd rather just listen in, by all means, you could do that too. You could do that too. Most of all, though, thanks as always for coming through. So I read a couple articles with this, and actually, you know what? I want to let you all hear something real quick. I'm going to let you hear a composition that I did. So this composition that you've been listening to in the background, this is yours truly on all the instruments: piano, bass, drums, keys, all that good stuff. And the name of this track is called Holla by Aaron Hill. It's everywhere that you already listen to music. So if you're on YouTube, just type in Holla, Aaron Hill. If you're on Spotify, Holla, Aaron Hill. If you're on Apple Music, Holla, Aaron Hill. Soon you'll be able to pull it all up in one place. Been talking about it every day. I'm going to have my own app soon, y'all. The 5M Experience. Look out for it. Coming soon to a home screen near you. That's going to be my motto. Sherry, that's the motto. Coming soon to a home screen near you.
Loves it.
But in the meantime, between time, you can go to all these other platforms and you can download the music there. So check Spotify, check Apple Music. Now, the easiest way to do it, if you can either go there or you can just go to my IG bio. You'll see a link that says to my music. That'll take you to the website, and any of the works that you see there, you'll see the Spotify and Apple Music link below. So it's all in one place there. So you can let it flow. I also want to say good morning to the good brother, Lenny McLean. What's up, brother? Good morning, my musician brother from another mother. Yes. So this composition is called Holla, Aaron Hill. But I want to let you all hear something that I have not released yet. And it's called Stargazing. Stargazing with Neil Degrasse Tyson. Check this out. This is Stargazing.
What is the most astounding fact you can share with us about the universe? The most astounding fact. The most astounding fact is the knowledge that the atoms that comprise life on Earth, the atoms that make up the human body, are traceable to the crucibles that cooked light elements into heavy elements in their core under extreme temperatures and pressures. These stars, the high mass ones among them, went unstable in their later years. They collapsed and then exploded, scattering their enriched guts across the galaxy. Guts made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the fundamental ingredients of life itself. These ingredients become part of gas clouds that condense, collapse, form the next generation of solar systems, stars with orbiting planets. And those planets now have the ingredients for life itself. So that when I look up at the night sky, and I know that, yes, we are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. When I reflect on that fact, I look up. Many people feel small because they're small and the universe is big, but I feel big because my atoms came from those stars. All right, just a couple of thoughts. One that's sort of deeply cosmic and another one that is fascinatingly disturbing, I think. You'll be the judge of this. Consider a couple of fundamental facts that has been gleaned in the past 60 years. That the ingredients, if you had asked your chemistry teacher 50 years ago, once you looked at that mysterious chart of boxes that sat in front of the class, the periodic table of elements, where did those elements come from? The chemistry teacher would actually not have an answer for you. They'll say, well, you dig them out of the earth. That's not where they come from. It took modern astrophysics to determine the origin of the chemical elements. We observe stars. We know what goes on in their center. They explode, laying bare their contents. What we have discovered is that the elements of the periodic table, that which we are made of, derive from the actions of stars that have manufactured the elements, exploded, scattered their enriched guts across the galaxy, contaminating or enriching gas clouds that then form a next generation of stars populated by planets and possibly life. And so when you look at the ingredients of the universe, the number one ingredient is hydrogen. Next is helium. Next is carbon. Hydrogen, helium, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. Those are the top ingredients in the universe. So you say, well, okay, that's kind of cool. Well, and you look at Earth, because we like thinking of ourselves as special. We say, oh, we're special. But what are we made of? Well, what's the number one sort of molecule in the body? It's water. Water. But what's water made of? H2O. Hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen. In fact, if you rank the elements in the human body, with the exception of helium, which is chemically inert, useless to you for any reason other than just to inhale it, sound like Mickey Mouse, you can't die from helium unless that's all you breathe. Number one in the human body is hydrogen. Matches the universe. Number two is oxygen. Matches the universe. Number three, carbon. Matches the universe. Number four, nitrogen. Matches the universe. And for each of us, the fifth element, other, is the same in both places. Okay? Other. So, we learned in the last 15 years that, of course, not only do we exist in this universe, it is the universe itself that exists within us. And had we been made of some rare isotope of bismuth, you would have arguments, hey, we're something special. But there are people who are upset by that fact, saying, well, that means we're not special? Well, I think it's special in another kind of way. Because when you look up at the night sky, it's no longer we're here and that's there. It's that we are part of it. And that association, for me, is actually quite enlightening and enriching. In fact, it's almost spiritual. Looking up at the night sky and finding a sense of belonging, given what we've learned about the night sky. And so now we have ourselves, though are we alone in the universe? We're made of the most common ingredients there are. And our chemistry is based on carbon. Carbon is the most chemically active ingredient in the entire periodic table. If you were to find a chemistry on which to base something really complex called life, you would base it on carbon. Carbon is like the fourth most abundant ingredient in the universe. Right? You can make more molecules out of carbon than you can all other kinds of molecules combined. So if we ask ourselves, are we alone in the universe? It would be, in spite of my diatribe about UFOs, I tell you in the same breath that it would be inexcusably egocentric to suggest that we are alone. The chemistry is too rich to declare that. The universe too vast. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand in all the beaches of the world. There are more stars in the universe than all the sounds and words ever uttered by all humans who have ever lived. To say we're alone in the universe. No, we haven't found life outside of Earth yet. We're looking, haven't looked very far yet. Galaxies this big, we looked about that far.
I hope you enjoyed that.
But we're looking. And how about life on Earth? How is it hard to form?
I hope you enjoyed that.
Do it in the lab doesn't mean nature had problems.
That is, again, my tune. That's called Stargazing. And so this is something that I wrote a couple years ago. And it was inspired by, as you heard, Neil Donald. I'm about to say Neil Donald Walsh. He's my other, one of my other favorite people, one of my other favorite Neils. Now, this is Neil Degrasse Tyson here. And so, yeah, that's a song called Stargazing. I'm going to actually release that really soon. And yeah, he's talking some good stuff there. I love it because I always say when you're gazing into the stars, basically gazing into our past, you're looking directly into our past. You're also seeing our future and you're looking directly at yourself. That's it. Mirror image. I tell you, this is a fun fact for the day. Did you all know that because of the way that light travels and how long it takes for light to travel, did you all know that if the sun went out right now, if the sun completely exploded, if it blew up, it was gone, it went black, right? That when you looked in the sky, you would still be seeing the sun for the next 7 minutes as if nothing had happened. If the sun went out right now, we wouldn't be able to tell for the next 7 minutes. Yep. As my mom would say, you don't believe me? Go look it up. I always think that's a fascinating fact. And so because of that, every time you look into the stars, every time you look into outer space, you look at the stars, you are looking at the past. Because the light that you're looking at is the light from 7 minutes ago. Yes. LT, did you know that? Did you know that if the sun went out right now, that for the next 7 minutes, it would still be in the sky because it takes 7 minutes for light to travel that far? That's a fun fact for you. Well, good morning then, goddammit. Good morning.
You just straight was talking to me. I knew nothing about what you were talking about. I just happened to click on the button. Like, damn.
Oh man, that was a perfect moment. Serendipity plus intention. I love having fun with it at every twist and every turn. So yeah, you just happen to, good morning, sunshine. You just happen to come in at exactly the time where I was talking about, first of all, I just played this this song that I wrote around a Neil Degrasse Tyson lecture, and it's called Stargazing. And he's talking about basically when you look into the stars, you're looking right in the mirror at us because of all that we're made of, where all these ingredients come from. And in addition to that, I was saying that, when you look into the sky, you really are looking into the past, because the reason why is that the light that you see from anything like dealing with the stars or what have you is actually from the past. It's not the light that's happening right now that is emitting. So I had learned a fun fact at some point, like when I was a kid, that because of, the direction of light, as far as how long it takes for light to travel, if the sun went out right now, like completely just exploded, blacked out, we wouldn't see a change for the next 7 minutes. We would look into the sky and we would still be seeing exactly the sun we see right now, even though right where it is, it'd be gone. And I was saying, like my mom said, you don't believe me? Go look it up. But yeah, that was the fun fact. So I had to use that to say good morning to you because I know you were waking up and starting to see the sun. Is the sun out right now in California? Has it gotten to sun?
Well, yeah, out. The way that my house is, the way my house face is that when I walk out my door, she's shining right in my face.
Yes.
Which is beautiful. And then looking in that direction, you can see a mountain that's a little ways off. It looks like it's close as hell, but it ain't. It has beautiful mountains.
Oh man,
beautiful mountains. And
right.
So it can, like during our winter, we don't typically get snow down on the ground, like down in my area, because I'm in the IE.
Right.
But you can be driving, and from afar you can see the snow on all other mountains, but not in your area.
Wow.
Which is really dope.
Wow.
I'll send you a picture. I gotta find it, but I'll send you a picture. When we get, like they said, never rains here. It rains. That's our winter. So you got these mountains, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Go down though too. Before moving here,
I
wanted to be near water, which is a lake in my city. And I wanted to be near a walking path. There's 2 walking paths. And I wanted to be near a mountain. And I didn't realize it until I was taking this Prosperity Plus class that I wrote it in the Prosperity book. And then one day I was driving, was like, oh shit, you are exactly where you said you wanted to be.
Wow. Wow. Isn't it interesting when that moment of realization, when it like all comes together, and then you realize like you've been walking on that journey the whole time. So you've been like completely aware and at the same time just so in the flow that realization happens again, where you're like, oh wow, that's right. What I've been trying to manifest, boom, I'm right in it. This is it.
That's magical.
It really is.
When you don't realize, I've heard it happen to many people where they'll make a vision board, they make a dream board or something like that, and then next thing you know, they're in it.
Right.
And they're like, oh, because you know what? We always be asking for stuff, right? I ain't mad at nobody for asking.
Right.
We be asking for.
Yeah.
We don't track it, recognize it, and sometimes we think we miss certain things.
Right.
I know the brain tired of us with all this. I want this. I want that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just having. All right, I'm gonna be next time. So you don't have to remember it and keep track of it. And we be putting our bodies to work.
Yeah.
Bodies to work, like internally.
Yes.
Just shit that ain't supposed to go in there. You know what I'm saying? Just letting muscles and stuff not, get strengthened. They put there. They can be strengthened. Now go to the gym, y'all.
Right.
Oh, all right. Just have a moment laying here thinking about all the stuff that we be doing ourselves, and then we want to complain about stuff.
Let me tell you something else. No, you good. Look, let me tell you something. These thoughts, I'm looking at, okay, it is 6:39 where you are. And what I'm saying is, same thing for me. These realizations happen at this time in the morning. You be like, you know what? Wait a minute. These when the best realizations happen.
Yeah. Sometimes, it comes up. And so that one just came up like, what you waiting on? I keep hearing Megan in my head, y'all.
No, I definitely dig that. So I think it's cool that your house is where you come out, the sun is shining right on your face. I've been thinking a lot about sunrise, and recently I was watching, I'm not sure if you're familiar or if anybody else here familiar, by all means as well. Forgot to say what's up to Ken, Missy, Sherry T. If y'all want to come to the stage, by all means, throw up a wave. Come on up here and hang with us. We're just hanging out, talking about this thing called what it means to be selfful, as well as a bunch of other stuff. As always, we stand in accountability. I was just thinking about a few minutes ago. I was like, man, this is the greatest name for this show, because the other name I thought about was the EI morning show, right? Emotional intelligence. But I was like, I love the accountability partners thing because it speaks more to my personality, which is that the accountability is in all these different categories, you know, and it's all about emotional intelligence, and that falls in as a category. So yeah, anywho, just glad to be with you all in accountability. So, you know, I've been thinking recently about what it means to like wake up with the sun, right? And I haven't done it yet, but like I do yoga and meditation in the morning. So I can't wait to like just wake up and go somewhere, whether it's on a beach or whether it's on a patio, it doesn't even matter. But just like to literally greet the sun, you know, in the morning. So yeah, I'm thinking about you coming out your door, the sunlight hitting you. I can imagine that you've probably done something like that too, or at least have had that experience.
So when I take a walk, like, okay, so when I first wake up at 5:30, it's still dark, especially here, so it's still dark.
Yes.
But if I get up right then and there, go do my yoga and all that stuff, or even take a walk, part of my meditation was walks. Like, I don't sit
right
and make my brain do that.
Thanks for hanging out, Lenny. Appreciate you, bro.
Two ways. It's either walk or nap.
Hope we have a great day today.
Those are two ways that I meditate.
Right, walk or nap, right?
Yeah, walk or nap. And so around 6-ish is when it start rising.
Yeah.
But to walk and watch that thing come, like peek behind a mountain and stuff like that, so I can see it, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a beautiful meditative experience.
Yeah. You know? And to hear the birds chirp and to have some Esther Hicks on while you walk. Magical.
I love it. Asking it is given. You ever read? Yeah.
Read it, but I listened to a lot of her stuff.
Yeah.
I think for some reason somebody took my book.
That was my first, Hicks. My first introduction to Hicks, that, and of course, was it Law of Attraction?
Really?
Yeah. I remember when Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm trying to think, when was I introduced to her? I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the science of mind, they you got Ernest Holmes, you got Karen Drakes and Ricky Byers, and you got a lot of Michael Beckwith and
Phil Moore.
All these people who have been in this, in that space for a while.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who introduced me to her.
Yeah.
But it's been years. I know I've been listening to her just as long as I've been. Dang, now you got me thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I first saw, I'll tell you what my first introduction was, where that first moment of like awareness around it, I became aware of it in my reality. As a thing, like being called a thing, as opposed to just what I was experiencing, already. So I'm on MySpace. Remember MySpace, y'all? I actually still get emails that are like, your such and such one has connected to your song. I'm like, yes, I'm king on MySpace. Let's go. As the crickets roll. I'm so happy about it, though. And this is what I love about Legacy. Like, real talk, on some just whole other. I love the fact that we get a chance to clone ourselves in these forms of content and in the forms of our messages, our principles, what we stand for, who we are, in the midst of content that will last and go on forever. Our great ancestors, would have probably done anything to have this ability for what they were trying to get down to us and these kind of things. So I'm just so grateful always to live in this area, this time of history, for that reason. So I'm on MySpace, 2006, and I'm I don't know even how it came about, but there was someone who sent me a friend request who was from India. And so when I went to the page, I couldn't read anything on the page at all because of the language. But in the middle of the page was this video, this law of attraction video. And so I clicked on it. And as I was watching, I was like, oh, this makes sense to me. Like like I would find it interesting when later on I would see like it be called The Secret, and come in other forms. I'm like, oh, that's cool, various forms. But it was interesting because I was like, man, to me, this is no secret. This is just life as it is. But like I've been saying, because of my upbringing, a lot of this I was tapped into before I even knew that it was a thing. I was tapped into law of attraction by the way that I was living and the emotional intelligence that I was developing. So I click on this video, I watch it, and I'm like, this makes a whole lot of sense. Because I'm a person that's always about like your actions and your thoughts create and manifest your reality to a major way. Now we can't be blamed for all things because some things are a part of that serendipity that aren't a part of, what we've created with our minds. But I know how it goes. I know we have all our various understandings of how we incorporate and how we incarnate, into this life and into things that we do. But at any rate, looking at this law of attraction thing, I'm like, this just makes fucking sense. This makes sense. And so I got into it. I grabbed a book, read the book. I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. And then I grabbed Asking It Is Given by Abraham Hicks. And again, that made sense in following suit with that. But that would be a part of my journey. For those of you all that don't know, from, let's see, I was a Pentecostal Christian up until 2009. Started having questions about things in like 2005. That took me on a journey to study every spiritual path around the world and to put it into practice. So everything from, I'm educated deeply on the Bible. In fact, I went to school. I went to Yale University for Bible studies, actually, Old Testament and New Testament, comb through every scripture, every chapter. Also, read the Bhagavad Gita, which is a smaller work of the larger Mahabharata, which are the Indian scriptures, the Indian holy scriptures. And then the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, your Upanishads, Lost Gospels, like you name it. I always tell people, if you want to hear more about that, just look on my YouTube channel. I've got a playlist there that's called My Take on Spirituality and Religion. But at any rate, this would be a part, this right here in New Thought and Religious Science and Christian Science and Science of Mind and on and on and on, the metaphysics, and it would be all a part of this. This would be like a part of that branch, that would pour me into that, and even all the way down to the road to becoming a Course in Miracles teacher for about 2 years. And so, yeah, I'm like, this just makes sense. This is life. And so I'm so grateful for these resources, and how they just pull us into that awareness, So yeah, Asking It Is Given and Law of Attraction. Yeah, LT. So, we're here, we're rising, we love rising. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay, so I've been in California since 2015, but prior to me coming to California, okay, so tell you what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Real short, sweet, and specific. When I was in grad school, in 2006, I think it was.
Yeah.
2006, 2007, I started to, I was taking a systems class, and my professor, they started to challenge everything that we thought we believed.
Yeah.
Right? Around that time, I was introduced to The Secret, and I was helping someone else chop up their, sell their semi-sexual calendar. And so at the time, I had watched The Secret that day. And when I went to her hotel room, she had the Don Divas book. So I was looking at the Don Divas book. and we was going to Hoffman Cooper's for Christmas party.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the party. I walk into the party, and the first person that I meet of two people was the guy that was the part owner of the Don Divas book. I said, what the hell? So he told me, I was asking, I don't know how we got on the subject, but he said, read the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. I said, okay. And then the second person that I met was Kevin McGovern. He's the one that owns Sobe. And we wanted to own his penthouse over top of Puffy's penthouse, overlooking the park.
Wow.
Now, all this happened in one night. And Kevin Govern told me, read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective.
7? Yes. Stephen Covey.
Right? So I got both books.
Love it.
And I started to read the seven Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And man, that's my all-time favorite book. It really is. I can read it and keep reading it and keep reading it. But I used to walk the park at the same time while I was reading. So I was outside of nature. I was reading. And when I say it started to open me up, like literally make me start to challenge everything that I thought that I knew. And it's one of the reasons why I don't believe in anything, but I do know some shit.
I'm about to say, I love it. Oh, man.
I started to look at words and how they spell. And so belief has a lie in it. And so it's the repetitive things that you keep telling yourself over and over and over and over till you think that it's true. So I don't believe anything. But I started to play with it. So if you give me some information, I'm going to implement it. I'm just that person. So I started to ask the universe God certain questions. Like, okay, how did she know that? Talk about capacity. Like, where did she get that information from? And the divine would tell me she spent time with me. I'll speak to you the same way. I was like, what? So I said, okay, I'm not going to church. I'm not paying any tithes. I'm not doing anything. But when I come back, I want to be where she's at. I want to have the same message and downloads that she had. I want to know that. And so I started playing with stuff like that and watched it happen. I went to after like 6 months, I went back and she was talking about the same thing that I was already in. But then she's like, it's a spiritual warfare church. She taught us about the zodiac. She taught us about colors. She taught us about numbers. She taught us about dreams and visions. She had so much insight to stuff, but she would only go but so far. I knew she knew more. But she wouldn't go any further, man. And so it's been since 2006 that all of this has been unfolding in my life in certain ways. And so I left there in 2009 and moved to Charlotte after the reset and met this lady who introduced me to Prosperity Plus, which was held at the Spirit Center, the Center for Spiritual Livings, with my teacher who just transitioned, Pastor Reverend Claire. So, she introduced me to the science of mind. She introduced me to Ernest Holmes. She introduced me to, so I had the spirit part, but I didn't know how mine was working in the spirit part. She added the spiritual, the mind part.
Yes.
And from there, I just been playing with all the tools.
100%.
Well, not all of them.
Right.
The ones I'm aware of.
Which is all you can do, right?
Right.
Can I share something with you too?
100%. In fact, I was just about to say.
What's coming up for me is that same time period. I think it was a profound period, right? When I had hit DC and had just gotten settled, I remember when a friend brought me the book that tied so much of my teachings together. Because y'all know I ain't gonna say it in this way, but I want to say it so you can understand it from a joking way. I am truly a barefoot country woman. Like, I grew up in the South, in the shelling peas on the porch. Like, that's my heritage, and I'm proud of it. And so much of the teaching was root. Much of the teaching was dirt.
much of the teaching was, nutrient rich, but you might not get it because it's coming from natural environment. So this was the place that I was growing in while going through my stuff. So once I left there, I was on a hump because no one could answer the things that would open me up. Like I literally just went through a journey, and I remember I had to be 8 years old in the backyard of my house when I was spinning in circles. And because I haven't slept since yesterday because I'm getting work done, right? So yesterday I went through a dream and I was spinning in circles, and I was like, oh, I'm 8, and I said, I'm here to change the world. And then I remember I said, no, my children are here to change the world. And now I know it's both of us, but then because we're changing bloodlines. So this was the 8-year-old little girl dream. At 15, I had a series of dreams.
Right.
These cataclysmic dreams no one could explain. I would be in people's house, things would talk. No one could explain to me what was going on. And this really went on from about 14, 15 until about 21, like once I was in college. But it made it where everything they were telling me from the church just didn't make sense. Nothing made sense. I was like, I feel you. I'm thankful for your prayer, but there's more happening in my world. Something's going on. So the journey for seeking for me, and finding or being led or guided, and what I've come to understand is that which is outside of me is inside of me. So I'm simply finding myself as I go forward.
Right.
So that 2006 point though, that's the point, because I come up the ball once I got college, I changed my major from nursing. I was in black psychology. I was learning all of this incredible knowledge, like learning about crystals, stones, all this. Like I was a country girl losing her mind.
Yeah.
With no, I didn't have nothing else but seeking, right, and having a lot of experiences. We'll leave that there. But what came up was around. You both spoke around the law of attraction and the secret. And I don't think I've ever shared, I may have shared the story with you, Aaron, or the timeline. LT, I know you guys don't know, but because you guys know I have 2 children, but I've had 8 pregnancies, and most of my children parted in ways that were traumatic, right?
Right.
And so I had given up on my body. I'd almost died. Like I bled out at home. It was so many things. And I remember making a commitment in my life that I would love me best. 2005, it was New Year's Eve. I had been through one of the most painful experiences in the hospital. No woman should experience what I was experiencing. Nurses were crying. Everyone was crying in the room. And I'll never forget my husband at the time. But he's my friend, but at the time, he didn't know what had happened because something changed in me. This love affair with me began. I was like, I'm gonna find out what's going on with me, and that began bringing these things to me in a different kind of way, and that's when I found the secret. Yes. 2006. And
wow. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Right?
Do we have a moment here? Did we just have a moment here? And especially with this lineup on the stage, did we just have a moment of 666?
I've been learning about 666. There's some powerful, medicine and modalities.
Building blocks of life. I'm sorry. Keep it going.
I'll finish by saying, because as you can tell, this is like I'm feeling, right? But what came through, and let me take a nice deep breath.
Yes, let's take a nice deep breath.
Because I can.
I'll take one with you. In fact, let's all open up our microphones. Let's all open our migrophones and take a nice deep breath. Yes, that felt amazing.
Yes, I'm still there. So as I ride in that space, that and the book Supernatural Childbirth is how I called my son in. I wept watching that movie. I went through this whole experience. My body completely reset. My marriage was almost on its edge, but I had gotten in like ridiculously great shape. It was this amazing time. Dope companies. Then next thing you know, I was pregnant.
Yes.
We went through this journey. It changed people in the hospital. It changed people around the world. Like the people who knew that we didn't have social media like that, and I wasn't on MySpace like that.
Yeah.
But that being said, that time, that movie, The Law of Attraction, energetics, understanding science, finding, I didn't even know it was science of the mind. It's just what I was doing.
Right.
So it's continuing to go on. I'm loving what y'all are sharing. I just had to comment about 2006.
Oh my goodness.
Because of what it did. I was like, did we all come into that at the record
same time? Yes. The correlations. And guess what, you said it so poignantly the other day. Synchronicity.
Yeah. Like that did. The book. Giving away. The website is called Giving, the YouTube channel. It's giving voice to the wisdom of the ages. And the book I was reading with Chiron, or listening to, is Chiron, the Lightworker's Handbook in 5 sections. If you just listen to the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it will change your whole world.
Is this the video you were talking about earlier?
I will shoot it to you. This is the channel on YouTube. They have tons of like esoteric books that you can just listen to that have been recorded in part or in whole.
But I mean, the one you want me to listen to is one video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Video. Can you shoot me that in my DM and tell me that minute mark? I'm definitely gonna jump on that.
I sure will.
Amazing.
Why I wanted to bring that to you is he spoke so much about us coming out of the linear Gregorian or man-made calendar that had been overlaid. You don't realize the illusion that's been overlaid over our lives that we have reached. And so he spoke about synchronicity as the way we know we are moving the way we're supposed to, because things just happen, and it happens as a result of us calling it in. Even when LT was like, I find that I'm right there, or a lot of times right now, either I'm right there with everyone or I'm a little ahead of the game, and then I turn around like, I'm just, this is okay, cool, and I just keep going. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that, and I will send it to you, but I'm going to be complete because we got
100%.
Amber, Delia, and Maria here. I just thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Want to say good morning to Lisa again, Sherry T. We got Maria, and of course Amber, Delia. Everybody, let's say good morning to Maria. Good morning, Maria. Good morning.
Good morning. Love brother.
Yes. Love
what an amazing conversation I just walked into.
Isn't it? You know what? That's gonna have to start being the new radio drop right there. Maria's voice saying, "What an amazing conversation!" Because Maria, the last 3 times that we've connected here, that's been exactly what you've echoed, and it's true. This what it is, right? We always are having these beautiful subjects. You wouldn't believe what we talked about today, from everything with being self-full and what it means to be aware of yourself while, being aware of others, to the beauty of the sunshine and rising with the sun, like LT would say, love rising and love rising with the sun. So now we're definitely dealing with this topic of law of attraction and kind of when we came into it, what it means to our life, and it just so happened we just had a 666 combination that just happened across the top of the screen. All of us had something significant in 2006 that happened to us. And I'm like, because that's the building blocks of life, let's get it for all my numerologists out there. All my numbers peeps. I'm definitely a numbers peeps because math was always my thing. So Maria, first of all, good morning to you, or second of all, good morning to you. And yeah, law of attraction. What is this, for you? What's your background into this flow of life?
Wow. Before I get into that, I just really want to acknowledge LT.
Yes.
because the bay room is hot, y'all. Hot, and the topics are even hotter, and just the level of vulnerability and togetherness and how we're all elevating each other in that room is just phenomenal. So I really want to acknowledge LT for creating it, for keeping it going, and for showing up and bringing these conversations to all of us.
Yes.
Maria, thank you. But I tell you, I want to show you the synchronicity of this conversation real quick. I'm laying here in my bed because I didn't get up, y'all. And my thought was, I'm thankful that I get the day off, right, from Clubhouse, because we only do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And my critic came up and says, are you making topics like that are really resonating? Like, I started to have a moment of doubt for the topic, and then you just opened up your mic and said what you just said was just a powerful way that Spirit speaks to me when I start to doubt certain things. Someone will come along and say something. So Maria, I'm talking about on cue. It was like the question came, or the critic tried to talk, right? The heifer was talking at the same time, and you came and shut her voice down. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Because I was just thinking, like, dang, like, all my topics making any sense. Like, am I putting together things that people can relate to? I was having these moments, just as we talking. As we talking, and then you came in and said that. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Thank you for answering through Maria in this moment. I love you, sis.
I love you too. And that's the example. There it is. The law of attraction. This
synchronicity.
Energy, the synchronicity of subconsciously. The knowing and just being connected to each other and being connected to the universe, and the universe, or whatever you want to call God, universe, whatever you address it as,
life,
or just life, exactly, life, energy, just flowing through us with messages for others.
Yes.
And for me, that's how the law of attraction. So I've watched the movie, I've read some things, and for me, the law of attraction, I interpreted in my life as just being open-hearted and trusting to receive. And
I love that. Wait a minute. Say that. Wait a minute. One more time, because my mind is like a sampler. It's like a tape recorder. So I listen to things, and subconsciously they go deeper. Can you repeat that one more time for me? I literally need to hear that out of your mouth so it could be recorded into my mind.
Okay. So for me, the law of attraction manifests as being open-hearted and just open to receive. And the second part to that, which I think that sometimes gets missed, is that it has to do with being prepared and being ready to receive. And what does it look like to be prepared and being ready to receive? Because the law of attraction is not about, sitting on my couch and saying, okay, when is the money going to show up? When are my clients going to show up? It's actually me preparing myself, doing my spiritual practices, getting up and getting ready first thing in the morning and receiving the day and having gratitude, and, doing the things that have me be playing my game at my best so that I can be ready to receive.
Right. Yes. Being able to receive, putting yourself in that place of openness so that the stream can flow through. And like LT says, being it until you see it, you gotta literally walk into that reality, shape, mold that reality by any means necessary. Put the things around you that you need in order to go to that next level. That's what I love about one of the things that even Coco talks about, which is finding ways to express that by triggering the different senses, or by stimulating, not triggering, stimulating the different senses. To me, that's what we're talking about here. You know, every aspect of your being, by being that until you see it. And that's the wild part, because it's like one and the same thing. In order for you to be it, you have to see it already. In order for you to see it, you have to be it, you know? So it's just this yin and yang, you know, this push and pull of this. But that's why it's so important. I think the thing that's needed most out of anything is just the desire to be aware, or desire to, because that's the thing that leads down the road of curiosity. And curiosity is just another way of creating an induction to pull you into finding answers, finding out, you know, the answers. So yeah, I definitely understand and appreciate what you're saying, Maria. What would you say, around what year do you think this, you know, this awareness came about for you?
For me,
Yeah.
It was around 2016.
Yeah.
Where it was more solidified.
Mm.
The last piece of that is a big part of that, I believe, for myself, is trusting.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting without having the proof of something already being there.
Yeah.
So when I started really opening up to who I really am, and calling in the things I actually really want in life, and being more specific about it.
Yeah.
It started showing up. So, you know, the other thing is that vocalizing it, saying it, sharing it, because, you know, being the best kept secret is not
right.
Work, right?
It's so funny you said that. So in my performing life, you know, as a piano artist, and even doing so much music with Sanahara Amachandra, one of the things that started coming up was having this line, saying this to the audience, like, all right, you all enjoyed this. Now we don't want to be, you know, Baltimore's best kept secret. So tell everybody about it. You know, it's like, yeah, let's share. Let's open this thing up here. You know, so I definitely understand what you're saying. And that's why I found this whole topic of law of attraction, when I saw it, the movie The Secret, I was like, this, okay, I get it. Like, I think this is good, but this is kind of interesting to me. It's kind of oxymoronic, because to me, this is no secret. This is literally life. It's just a matter of whether you have your glasses on and you're looking through the lens to be aware of it or not. It's really just a perspective thing. Because I promise you, in these paths that we're talking about, and on our individual journeys, our paths, I have a song that's called Things Will Change. And in fact, I'm going to see if I can find it here. It features Sanahara Amachandra on vocals, myself on piano, and the rest of my band, The Fruition Experience. When you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will change, right? And so you think about this idea of how most of this journey hasn't really been about the world changing around us. It's actually been about us changing our perception of the world around us, thereby changing our world around us. You know, so it is a real fascinating thing. Really.
Amen to that. You know why? You just said something really powerful that just like light bulb. You said that The Secret, the movie The Secret, the information in there is not a secret, and you're right, it's not. However, why it looks like this, that it is a secret, it's something new or something we're not, it's because we're not used to it. It's because we were conditioned in this society to behave and act and react out of fear in life. Everything is fear-based.
Yes.
And when you're in fear, it's not a space where you can actually create and attract and have all of these other beautiful things show up in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So to some people and to a lot of people, it is something new because we're so conditioned to live out of fear instead of trusting.
Agree. I could not agree with you more. You are so right. You know, it comes up so many times in these conversations. It came up earlier today several times. You know, we think about evolution. And then if you go back in your mind and you imagine, you just go back a few years and then go back a few years more and then a few more and a few more. Eventually you get to a point where life was lived in a place where we lived in a fear state most of the time because we didn't have the ability to kind of just sit and relax and, you know, enjoy ourselves and not be wondering if there's going to be a member from another tribe that's just trying to throw a damn arrow at us and kill us on the spot. Like it's a whole different time and time period. And so as we fast forward into this time, we come to this moment where it's like, yeah, that's why these things make sense and why I love having these kind of conversations, because things will change if you change the way that you look at them. And one of the things that we're changing is we're changing our relationship to this word called fear. We're starting to realize where to put the healthy sense of fear that keeps, you know, that keeps your young from getting ran over by something because you alert and you react. But the debilitating fear, when all those times when you have no need to have fear, because you're not in a place of scarcity or abundance or love is actually near, then we're learning how to deal with that in a much better way. I love this. I'm curious, Dalia, if you're there, law of attraction, how do you resonate with this? How does this resonate for you if you're there? And anybody else who'd like to come up to the stage, by all means, go on and throw a wave. Come on up, and we're here until 10:30, flowing with this law of attraction deal. Dalia.
For me, I am in a place of being open-minded.
Yeah.
That's my strategic position. I'm not certain that law of attraction works absolutely, but it is certainly an experience.
Yeah.
I certainly had that experience, and I think it might be a matter of my attention. And like you said, things change when you look at them differently. Mm-hmm. So depending on my mindset,
some things do, by the way. Some things do.
Some things do. So yeah. I notice the serendipity more often because, you know, I'm looking and I'm expecting, like I'm having this weird connection with Octavia Butler's work, and I'm starting to finish reading her because when I'm hearing about her work that I haven't read,
right, I'm
seeing eerie connections between my own work. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, she died pretty young.
Right. Her
work is unfinished, you know, and I'm just like, oh my God, is Octavia Butler trying to reach through me? So
right.
I could just write myself off and call myself crazy, but instead,
no, I was just about to say, it's funny you said that, the serendipity, right before you said it. I just didn't want to interrupt you, and now I'm interrupting you, but I was getting ready to say a creative's mind. And that's the wild part. You're not crazy, you're just creative. We are creative.
Yeah. So we do find those connections as creative. So when I'm writing a poem, or when I'm writing a story, or when I'm thinking about something, I find those connections in the world. I was like, oh, I was just about to say that. Like sometimes I'll come in here and say, you know what, I just wrote about that.
Yeah.
Because my mind sees those connections, whether it's a manifestation of some universal truth or not.
Right.
I am going to stay open-minded and say maybe.
Right.
Because that serves me creatively.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting what you're saying. I love this. This is why I love perspectives, right? Because I actually identify with exactly what you're saying and every other perspective. Here's why. It's funny. I love this. I love this moment. What brings me to the place where I am as far as how I see life is realizing that it's both and, because life is filled with a number of things. So there are times when the way that we understand law of attraction, as far as the way you think is the way you create your reality, is exactly what it is. And then there are other times when, no, our choice was already decided before us, and we didn't decide that we were going to be in a cave locked away for all of our life and die. I apologize for if that might be triggering. Let's take a deep breath and bring it back. And I say that because the deepest thing that has brought me to the place where I am is having the empathy all the way around the board. And there's the reason why when you said, when we changed the way we look at things, and I said sometimes, even though I'm the one that just said it without the sometimes, but it's because of the fact that, again, it's both and. There are times when exactly what you're thinking and what you're doing is creating a reality. And then there are other times that there are other things in the serendipity and the intention of other sentient beings and other shit that just happens because it's an ongoing organism where shit happens. Where you're not in, it's not your, you didn't create this particular reality looking at. And that's why I say earlier, I do understand past that for those that, you know, believe that, yeah, before you came into this life that you created it. And I get that. So, but with that being said, it means for me that it's both and it's all in. So there are definitely times, exactly, Delia, when law of attraction is working directly. And then there are other times when it's like, yeah, it's still happening, but in another way. And right now, the circumstances that's happening were created by the rest of the living organism. that's part of the.
You just reminded me of something else I wrote.
Yeah,
you actually read that.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
It was the Black Girl Manifest.
Yes.
Story, because you just brought in collective manifestation,
yes,
collective attraction,
yes,
and how, you know, one person's individual, you know, manifestation effort might be thwarted by other people. But at the same time, I also acknowledge that because of because time, space is one, something that you manifest may not happen in your life, may not happen when you expected, or for the person that you expected it for. It might not be for you. But if you are making efforts and striving, maybe you inspire someone, maybe, I don't know, some weird quantum entanglements, you set some things in motion where it's possible. So, like when you say when intention meets serendipity, that's life. So so here would be when, you know, intention meets, when the probabilities collapse in your favor, your manifestations come out. If the probability is so astronomical, like you can't fly today, but, you know, someone can invent the plane. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because it's all this, right? It's beautiful. It's all this big ball of synchronicity. Here's the thing, I don't try to paint it as all good or all not. It literally just is what it is. And what we do is, with each thing, with each event, with each occurrence, we just are running it through our filter, and based on what we believe. and I said that because I remember LT saying earlier, she doesn't believe, she knows. And I definitely agree with it. I know exactly where she's coming from. I had a conversation with a buddy the other day, though, who didn't believe that he had beliefs. And by the end of the conversation, he did, because I explained to him, or I share with him, at least when we talk about beliefs, we have this level of, and this is all based on literally like all that molds and shapes us and shapes our mind. Our preferences, our desires, what we think is the direction to go in life, or what's the best way to live life, best, highest quality of life. All these things are subjective. Every last damn it one of them. That's just life, because we're the ones that make up the rules and are enforcing them as well. We're reshaping and remolding them every day. But what that brings me to is, you know, you have this synchronicity. And the synchronicity is just that, it's just the is what it is, what it is, what it is. And then from there, we just look at some things as beneficial for us, some things that we don't want, some things that we do. What I like to do is to point to this place. This is why I always say my religion is acceptance over expectation. I like to point to this place where what we're more so talking about is that it is what it is, but we don't have to let it take us into overwhelmingly excited places where it's so exciting that we raise ourselves up so high that we forget reality. And then when reality hits in, we fall to the ground. And then we have to try to figure out all of these things to reinvest in as far as our ideas, our knowings, or our beliefs to comfort us. But it was really just because we got too hooked on the overly exciting thing. Or if, which is the one we talk about really all the time, I've never heard anybody talk about not to let overly exciting things take you out of your place of peace and center too. But that was something that was kind of a thing that I realized in my own life and how I stay where I am and how I flow through. We're used to talking about the negatives. Don't let the bad shit get you down. Don't let the, because that's for sure. It's so helpful. But what I realized is that you pull it all into the center, and then what you get into this place of peace and acceptance, you get to the come what may, you get to the, it just is what it is. It hurts when it fucking hurts, and it feels good when it feels good. And that's life. It's just all one. And the acceptance of that to me brings about the peace. Not that everything goes well or is good or is fine or what have you. It's just your acceptance even deeper to the is what it is. So speaking of it being what it is, I'm curious as to what you have to say. In fact, let's see, where are we? We're at 10:26. I'm going to actually play this tune. Things Will Change, right? And I want you all to hear this. This is a song that I wrote in 2012. And what you're getting ready to hear is the second time we performed this song as a group. Things Will Change. My group is called, one of my groups, I have two groups. One is called the Fruition Experience. Fruition Experience consists of myself on piano, Sanahara Amachandra on vocals, Charles Wilson on drums, and a whole cast of other people, bass, horn, all these kind of people. And so it's a great time. And I also have another group called the Aaron Hill Trio, which is just myself, bass, and drums. So I wrote this song in 2012. This, for many people who are here, who are just getting to know myself and Sanahara Amachandra and everybody else that's here in this experience, this was actually at the very beginning when Amma and I met. And when my buddy, who's the saxophone player that's in this video, he introduced me to Amma, introduced Amma to me, because he knew what I was looking for as far as the kind of group that I was putting together. So I wrote this song, Things Will Change. And again, it's based on all that we've been talking about here today. So I hope that you enjoy this. Now, let's see if we can get it going. Let me see if I can share my screen. Thanks to all the peeps hanging out on FB and YT. All right, let's get it. Application. All right, let's go here. Share. Switch there. All right, here we go. Hope you enjoy.
If you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will change. If you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will change. And if you change the way you're loving those who you love, they will change. If you change the way things will change. Things will change. Things will change. So be renewed by the transforming of your mind, and everything will be just fine. And the world will change right before your eyes. You'll be renewed by the thought. It was inside all along. That was a change was to be. Was within you and me. Oh, then you'll just know that things will change. Dear Johnson. So when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will change. When you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will change. Things will change. Will you change the way you look at things? Things will change. 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 Will you change the way you look at things? When you change the way you look at things, I need you to open your heart, open your mind, open your eyes, and you will find all the things you ever need. Things will change, things will change. When you change the way you look at things, things will change.
Wow. I got goosebumps.
And so did I, even though I wrote that song and even though I've heard it a number of times, so did I, because it really does yeah, touch me in that way. And if you all were able to see the video, in fact, if you DM me, I can send you the video, or you can check it out. All you can do is you can go to YouTube and just type in "Things Will Change," Aaron Hill, and you'll see it come up with the group. This is like one of my favorite songs from our catalog. I mean, we have a number of them, but this was pretty special because of really what we've been talking about today. So yeah, I'm glad that I could share that with you all. Anybody else? How did that make you feel? Guess it made you all feel good.
I was in Harlem.
It was a lovely meditation.
Thank you.
I felt like I was in Harlem somewhere, just sitting at one of the juke joints or something.
Yes.
You know, having me a nice cocktail and just watching the magic. Yeah, I literally had to look down at my phone and say, "Oh, you holding that in your hand? It's not there. Wake up, girl. Wake up."
I absolutely love it. I love it. Yeah. So this, and I've written a number of other songs. Like I say, you'll see them all on my YouTube channel, Aaron Hill TV, and I even have a playlist that's on my YouTube channel. That's under my group's name. It just says The Fruition Experience. That's the name of my group with Amma in it. And you'll hear hundreds of songs and videos, and you'll see us all over traveling and touring and performing. So I hope that you get a chance to check that out. But definitely, if you need a pick-me-up throughout this day today, just go look up Things Will Change, Aaron Hill, and continue to enjoy that. So I just want to say thank you all, family. It's been a great time as always. Great vibe. We are here as always, standing in accountability. And it always feels good to stand in accountability in so many different kind of ways. We stand in accountability in ways that relate to things like patience and kindness, love, respect, being selfful, attracting, all these kind of things. So as you go out throughout your day today, continue to attract and to emit those same feelings, those same inspirations and affirmations and aspirations to others. And I look forward to standing in accountability with you again tomorrow. As always, be good to each other. And I want to say once again, thank you. Let's open up our microphones and let's affirm each other one last time on a great morning. Have a great one, Maria, Hamadalia, Sanahara, LT. Yes.
So much love to you all. I love you, and I appreciate all of you in my life.
Oh my goodness.
Maria, hit me up in the inbox real quick.
I will, honey.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of my favorite tunes too. Have an amazing day.
Listen to that song again. Woo!
Yes. Things will change. Things will change. Yes, I'm glad you enjoyed. And thank you for letting me know how you felt it inside. Thank you so much. Yes. See you later.
In the mornings.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
In the mornings.
I love it. And the feeling is so mutual. I'm grateful for you in my life too, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yes. Take care. Love you. Much love. Bye.
Frequency on high.